Welcome to this live stream. It'll be fun. To begin this live stream, I want to ask Jesus to teach us new things. And when your words go out, that they sink into our ears, all of us that hear them. We know that you are uttering your voice, and we want to be able to hear and comprehend and understand what you are saying and teaching to us. So let's talk about light. Light is an amazing thing. And it's like a literal thing. We all know that. The sun is a light. Sometimes you have a light on the ceiling. So it's kind of a simple thing, but it can also be like figurative or symbolic, I guess, or whatever, of good. And darkness can be the same for like evil. But there's a literal darkness also. So we'll talk about kind of all of that. I just wanted to, let me turn this music up. I want to bring you over to the desktop is what I want to do. So let's do that. I searched for the word light in the King James Bible. And the word light is mentioned in the King James Bible 309 times. And right away at the beginning in Genesis 1, verse 3. So we're just going to read some verses here and get kind of an idea of what the Bible says that light is. But actually, before I read those, let me just mention a few things about light. I think the first words that were spoken in the creation was, "Let there be light." So that, we're going to talk about that. Light is good. It is divided or separated from darkness. Light is the day. Darkness is the night. When there's darkness, light makes it flee. You can't have darkness if there's a light there. When there's no light, darkness consumes anything where there's no light. And I was thinking about this. If you want, it might be silly, but if you want, I'm going to do it right now. Take your hand and just cover up your eyes. Okay, I'm doing that right now. And that is what darkness is. It's nothing more, nothing less than what you're seeing right now if you're covering your eyes. But there's a lot more to it than that. Light, it's used, like I said, in a symbolic or figurative way, but it's also very literal. And the same with darkness. It can be both literal and figurative, I guess. So let's read some of these verses and get an idea of what light is. Because if we think about it, there's some things that have been mentioned. Let's see. I'm going to go look at the description for this video. I'll just read it. Have you considered what light is and what darkness is? These are literal things that we experience. We experience darkness in the absence of light, and darkness flees when light is present. Why does this matter? And how is space exploration a deception sent from the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms? What is literal darkness? What is the dark place where God puts lights to give light on the earth? Think about that. We'll read all of that today. Is there kinds of light that we can't see? What does Jesus teach us about light and about darkness? Why is Jesus the light of the world? Is he lighting your path in darkness so you can see where you go? Kind of like if you were on a dark trail and you had a flashlight. You wouldn't be able to see where you were going without any light. Jesus warned us about what darkness can do to us and why it flees when light is there. And it actually doesn't even comprehend the light. And the light snuffs it out, and the same way, if there's no light there, the darkness takes over. So let's go over some of these. Let me get back to that page. Great to see you guys. I just felt like I wanted to talk about light and darkness. I was gonna title it, or I was thinking about titling the video, an introduction into literal darkness, because that is kind of, well, that's half of this live stream. We'll say light is the other half and darkness is the other half. So let me make sure I'm on the right page. Okay, so let's just go through some of these verses. I don't think we'll read all 309, but we're going to look at these ones in Genesis, and then we're going to skip probably to Psalm and look at that. Maybe Job. And then we're going to listen to some of the things that we'll look at some of the things that Jesus said about light. And like I was saying, I want us to comprehend and understand something that I don't think I understand. I want him to teach us about this stuff. That's the only way to learn about it. So in Genesis 1 verse 3, it says, "And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good." So right there, light is good. "And God divided the light from the darkness." So is anybody thinking the same thing I'm thinking right now? If light and darkness are divided, and light's good, what is darkness? Evil, right? We'll find some verses that talk about that too. "And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night." So they're like opposites of each other. "And the evening and the morning were the first day." So that was the first day of creation. So then I was saying, what is the place of darkness where God put lights to give light upon the earth? Here we go. Genesis 1 verse 14. "And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. And let them be for signs and for seasons and days and years." So those are the stars, the sun, moon, and stars. Okay, now the stars, we'll have to talk about, there's both stars, I call them stars of God, stars that obey God. He gave them a commandment to go on a specific course or trajectory or path or orbit or whatever you want to call it. And yes, it is the stars that are moving and not us on the earth. We're on a place that's stable and stationary and not moving. Okay. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and days, or for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. So I want to just point something out. What does it mean, or what would it be if God hadn't created, or we could say before he created those lights that he put in the firmament to give light upon the earth? So the firmament is actually a place of darkness, right? Because what did we just read? And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. And he made the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. So I'm just pointing out that without the lights that he put in the firmament of heaven, the firmament would be a place of darkness. because there would be no light there. And so what I'm kind of learning about, I don't really like. I'm not really even saying that I understand this, but I'm getting an idea about it, and that's why I was asking Jesus to teach us, because I know there's something to learn here, and for quite a while I've been trying to understand what light is. What is light? Well, if you ask science, they'll say it's photons or whatever. But I'm not talking about what science says. I don't care what science says. Science is wrong. Wrong. Okay, Genesis 1:18. And to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. Okay, now we're going to skip to Psalms. Or Psalm, I guess. Okay, we'll probably read all these. There's 33 of them here in Psalm. Some of them will be like for lightning or something like that, and so we'll skip past some of them. But Psalm 4:6. There be many that say, who will show us any good? Lord, lift thou up the light of thy countenance upon us. Deb Woods in the chat said, Jesus is the light. And that is 100% right. And we'll find out that Jesus even claimed that he's the light of the world. So let's look here. Psalm 18, verse 28. For thou wilt light my candle. The Lord my God will enlighten my darkness. Which is kind of like what he did when he said, let there be light, and also when he made the two great lights and put them in the firmament, in the stars, to give light upon the earth. He lightens our darkness. Well, what if we don't believe in that? Then what? Psalm 27:1. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Oh, I like this one. This is a good one. Hey, I got pause. I just got to tell you guys, YouTube got me again. And I appealed it, and they said no. So I have a warning on my channel once again. So, they took a video down that had for medical misinformation, and yeah, I guess I can't speak about anything having to do with current events. And yeah, this verse that we're going to read in a minute reminded me of it. But so I am worried about my channel a little bit again, because I have 3,000 something public videos, and I don't know how their system goes through and chooses which videos to review, but who knows? Anytime it could go. So what I was going to do is I'm going to put this into the chat, my backup channel, and if you guys are not, I don't really post anything there, but if this channel disappears, I certainly will. So there is my other channel. If you guys feel like subscribing, please do. And I do have some videos on there. Lights in Heaven, Space Wizards, Crazy Flat Earthers, Not So Crazy. Bunch of videos on there, but not a ton. But anyway, and I've got 70 subscribers already, so I'm kicking it good over there. All right, so enough of that. I just wanted to share that because it's a little disappointing. They just got me this morning, and I appealed it, and they already got back to me and said, eh. So let's do this. Back to Psalm 34, verse 5. They looked unto him and were lightened, and their faces were not ashamed. Their faces were not ashamed. My face isn't ashamed, guys. I hope yours isn't too. Psalm 36:9. For with thee is the fountain of life. In thy light shall we see light. Psalm 37:6. And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. 38:10. My heart panteth, my strength faileth me, as for the light of mine eyes, it also is gone from me. 43:3. O send out thy light and thy truth, let them lead me, let them bring me unto thy holy hill, and to thy tabernacles. 44:3. For they got not the land in possession by their own sword, neither did their own arm save them, but by thy right hand and thine arm, and the light of thy countenance, because thou hadst a favor unto them. 49:19. He shall go to the generation of his fathers, they shall never see light. So we're just going over some of these verses because they all kind of say, not all of them, many of them say just straight up that he's the light. And I think that also means in some kind of way, not that I'm saying I understand all these things, but I think in some kind of way that's saying what science considers photons or whatever. That is something more than we maybe understand it to be in this world. Let's see. Now there's another Isaiah. That's where we're going to go to Isaiah next. Psalm 97:11. Light is sown for the righteous, and gladness for the upright in heart. 104 verse 2. Who coverest thyself with light as with a garment? Who stretchest out the heavens like a curtain? 105:39. He spread a cloud for a covering, and fire to give light in the night. 112 verse 4. Unto the upright there ariseth light in the darkness. He is gracious. See that? It's literally just almost replacing him with light. Unto the upright there ariseth light in the darkness. He is gracious and full of compassion and righteous. And 118:27. God is the Lord, which hath showed us light. Bind the sacrifice with cords, even unto the horns of the altar. Okay, now I want to go to Isaiah. This is the one that I was kind of looking at. Okay, can you guys see? Okay, let me see if you guys can see the. You guys can see the book and chapter, right? Let me double check. Okay, yeah, you can. You can see Isaiah 2:5. So I'm not gonna say the book and chapter, but I'll keep my cursor on the screen so you can tell what I'm reading if you're reading along. O house of Jacob, come ye and let us walk in the light of the Lord. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. In that day they shall roar against them like the roaring of the sea, and if one look unto the land, behold darkness and sorrow, and the light is darkened in the heavens thereof. To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to his word, it is because there's no light in them. So I think this is something we like to keep in mind, or this is what I'm thinking about right now. That how okay, we could say Jesus is the light of the world, and to me that seems like, on the surface, that seems to be like figurative. But what I'm trying to, maybe it's not. Maybe it's in a different way than that. Let's see. Isaiah 9 verse 2. The people that walked in darkness have seen a great light. They that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, upon them hath the light shined. That's us, guys. And here we go. That taboo subject of biblical creation, flat earth. Just apply that to this verse, Isaiah 9, verse 2. The people that walked in darkness, the people that believed they were in a solar system, think about it, have seen a great light. They that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, upon them hath the light shined. Let's see. For the stars of heaven and the constellation thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. So what is that saying? That's saying that the two great lights that and the stars that God created to put light on the earth won't be there. And it will be, the firmament will be only darkness. Moreover, the light of the moon shall be as the light of the sun, and the light of the sun shall be sevenfold, as the light of 7 days, in the day that the Lord bindeth up the breach of his people, and healeth the stroke of their wound. I believe that's right now, guys. I read this one yesterday, I think. I, the Lord, have called thee in righteousness, and will hold thine hand, and will keep thee, and give thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles. And I will bring the blind by a way that they knew not. I will lead them in paths that they have not known. I will make darkness light before them, and crooked things straight. These things will I do unto them. Ooh, getting a call here. And will not forsake them, and not forsake them. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Here's another one about giving thee for a light to the Gentiles. Who among you that feareth the Lord, that obeyeth the voice of his servant, that walketh in darkness and hath no light? Who is among you, Who is among you that feared the Lord, that obeyeth the voice of his servant, that walketh in darkness and hath no light? Let him trust in the name of the Lord, and stay upon his God. I was watching the video from yesterday. I was watching the chat, or the live chat or whatever, and I noticed it was mentioned in there that some people were kind of scared about what we're seeing, and then what we're going to see. And I think we just have to remember that. Let him trust in the name of the Lord and stay upon his God. There's nothing to fear. Nothing at all, as long as you trust in him. Okay, let's see. There's a lot of verses about light. I'm just skimming here. Okay, so now I think we're going to go to one of my favorite books, John. Okay, John 1 verse 4. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. The darkness doesn't comprehend what light is, guys. Okay, then it's talking about John the Baptist. This is something interesting, and it's just a kind of a side note thing. I don't know. So the same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. Sorry, my phone's going off the hook here. Okay, so John the Baptist came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. Well, Jesus said to Pilate before he was crucified that he said he came into this world to bear witness to the truth. So that's kind of interesting. John was sent here to bear witness of the light, which is Jesus. And Jesus came to bear witness to the truth. Okay. He was not, John the Baptist is talking about still, he was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm getting a message from a guy I work for. I'll have to get back to him in a little bit. So now this verse right here, John 3:19. Did I already read John 1:9? That was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. Okay, now this one here is where I want to start talking about the curse that goes forth over the face of the whole earth that Zechariah was shown in Zechariah 5. It was a flying roll. And I think he was seeing just rockets. Because he saw a flying roll, and he described what it looked like and the size, and that it was flying. And the angel told him, this is the curse that goes forth over the face of the whole earth. I don't think there's many things that are shaped and look like a roll or a scroll or whatever that are flying over the face of the whole earth. There's really only one thing doing that. I guess if we looked at it a different way, maybe airplanes are like that. I don't know. But I think he was talking about rockets, because where do rockets go? They go into darkness. That's where they go. That's what they do. That's why they are built. That's why they were invented. And this is the condemnation that light has come into the world, and that men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. So how am I understanding that? Well, there is light that came into the world, and it came in the form of truth. Remember, Jesus came to bear witness to the truth. Everyone that what did he say? He said, everyone that, I can't even remember how he said it. Hears his voice. Everyone that is of the truth heareth my voice. That's what he said. So just think about, I think what we're seeing in our world today is we could say it both literally and like in a symbolic way or whatever, that there's a battle between light and darkness happening, and it's a very literal battle because men want to go into darkness. And I think that's what this is talking about. This is the condemnation that light has come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil. They want to ascend into heaven without Jesus. They want to climb up some other way into the sheepfold, right? And that's why I'm always talking about God's in heaven, up in the sky. That's where God lives. That's where his throne is. That's where his sanctuary is. That's where his temple is. That's where his holy city is. That's where Jesus ascended to. So these are very literal things as well as beliefs, you know. But that's why I've been saying those things. Okay. For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. Whoops, sorry about that. But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest that they are wrought in God. He was a burning and a shining light, and ye were willing for a season to rejoice in his light. Then Jesus spake, then spake Jesus again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. Life. And he gives us eternal life. Like after this world, after this when we're on the earth. We're on the earth just for a short period of time, but once time is over, once there's no more time, he offers us a place in his kingdom. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. Let's see. Jesus answered, Are there not 12 hours in the day? If any man walk in the day, he stumbles not, because he seeth the light of this world. But if a man walk in the night, he stumbleth, because there's no light in him. So what did God, let's do this. I want to go over here to darkness. Let me see something. Okay. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. But if a man walk in the night, he stumbleth, because there's no light in him. So when they go to space, and the astronauts all say it's a dark abyss, a deep dark abyss, a bottomless pit, that's what the astronauts say. So when a man walks in the night, he stumbleth, because there's no light in him. And Jesus said unto them, Yet a little while is the light with you. Walk while ye have the light, lest darkness come upon you. For he that walketh in darkness knoweth not whither he goeth. I just see this to be so much related to this truth that we've come to understand in the last 5 years. And we're against the idea of going into that darkness. A lot of people don't even believe it's real. Like, they think it's fake. But the point is that it's a place of darkness. And they're like, there's too much light in the world for them to even believe it. For them to even know that something's happening there. They're like, nah. Because the darkness doesn't even comprehend the light. John 12:36, While ye have light, believe in the light, that ye may be children of light. 12:46, I am come a light into the world, that whosoever believeth on me should not abide in darkness. So now we have to look at darkness. So, so when Jesus is saying he's the light of the world, and when someone comes to him and believes on him, they won't abide in darkness. Well, what is he actually saying? I mean, anybody can say, oh, well, that means this. That means this. But what if we take the words for what they are? Because in his creation, there is a place, a literal place, where there's darkness. So what if we take it that way? So where is that? So we need to know where that is. Well, it's in the second verse of the Bible. Genesis 1 verse 2. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So there's these waters, these dark waters, called the deep, and they're actually an abyss. So this is what the astronauts are talking about when they say the bottomless pit. So just think about this. That place of darkness, what is... Oh. I can't believe he keeps calling that much. So that place of darkness is a real place, is what I'm saying. Sorry, guys. So when we look at that, and then we look back at what we were looking at a second ago, I am come a light into the world, that whosoever believeth on me should not abide in darkness. Shall not abide in space. I think that's what that's saying myself, in a literal way. Maybe it means more than that. Maybe it means something else than that. But But if we take the words for what the words are, whosoever believeth on me should not abide in darkness. How many people want to go to Mars and go to space and think that there's going to be some future for them in that darkness? And I mean the darkness upon the face of the deep. Hey, Bobby. I just let my cat out right before the stream and she already found a way back in. Okay, so let's look at a couple more things about darkness. And I think we already went over some of these. God saw the light that it was good and divided the light from the darkness. God called the light day and the darkness he called night. So when we have the night sky, that's when we see the stars. That's when we see the sun. Or, I mean, not the sun. That's when we see the moon or whatever. We won't see the sun during the day. Or during the night. Wow, I'm sorry. And to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. Okay, so now I want to read some more about light in Revelation. In Revelation 7, verse 16, they shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more. Neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. And actually, okay, and then there's an angel in Revelation 18, verse 1, which I think is something actually we might talk about a little bit. A lot of people talk about Babylon so loosely. Come out of Babylon. They think that Hollywood's Babylon or something. But they're wrong. Babylon is a very specific place. And it happens to be a place of darkness. And it happens to be a place where there's evil spirits imprisoned under chains of darkness. The fallen angels and the transgressing stars. So that place we call space is not a universe. It's not a solar system. It's part of the heavenly realm, the very bottom part, where all the evil spirits are bound under chains. And we'll look at that here. We might talk about that. I'm sure we will. But Revelation 18, verse 1, and after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. Okay, in Revelation 21, verse 23, and the city, which is the holy city, New Jerusalem, the city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon, to shine in it, for the glory of God did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof. Jesus is the light of the world. And the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it. Revelation 22:5, and there shall be no night there. So let me just talk for a second. Because if the sun and moon don't give their light and the stars fall to the earth, what is above us? It would be just darkness only, right? So the firmament is a place of darkness. And if we go to, let's just go to, I know I can do it. I can just go here, open the link in a new tab here. I'll get you guys back over here. Oops, did I get it? Okay, no. I'm working on it. Here we are. Revelation 18. This is the verse we just read. The earth was lightened with his glory. Now this verse here is one that I would say everyone that talks about Babylon ignores this verse. They don't really apply this verse to their thinking. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become. So Babylon the Great is become the habitation of devils. What does that mean? It means a place where devils are. Okay, so when people are saying things about like Babylon, like I always hear the Vatican or like all these things that are on the earth. Well, I'm here to tell you right now that Babylon the Great is not on the earth. It's not even part of the earth. It's the part of heaven where all the evil spirits are bound and imprisoned. Look at it, it says, is become the habitation of devils and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. And if we look at the Greek words there, it actually says a prison 3 times, I think, in this verse. A prison for devils, and a prison for foul spirits, and a prison for unclean spirits. But look what it says here. For all nations have drunk the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth, by the way, the kings of the earth in this context are not men. John, who wrote this book and, saw this vision, actually said that the kings, they looked like horns. He described them visually as being horns. And then he was told that the 10 horns that he saw were kings. And like in Daniel, it was told the same thing. And Daniel described them also as being horns. And then Daniel was told these great beasts, because he saw these beasts and he saw them being lifted up from the earth, and he saw them having dominion of the host of heaven. And that's the sky. And Daniel was told the same thing that John was told in his vision. Daniel was told that the 10 horns which thou sawest, or maybe that's, I'm trying to say it off the top of my head, but Daniel was told that these great beasts, which were 4, because he saw 4 of them, are kings that shall arise out of the earth. Just like Daniel saw them arise, he saw these horns flying up to the stars. In Daniel 8, let's go look at Daniel 8 really quick, just because I want you guys to understand this. The kings of the earth in the end of days, they're not men. They're actually vehicles. They're actually vehicles that fly, and Daniel explains that. I'll get over there for you guys. Let's just look at this really quick. Okay, so Daniel 8 verse 3 is another vision that he had. Look, and I saw in a vision, and it came to pass when I saw that I was at the Shushan in the palace, which is in the province of Elam, and I saw in a vision, and I was by the river of Ulai. Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw. So do you think Daniel is seeing this visually? I do. It's very clear he is. And behold, that's what that means too, to see something. There stood before the river a ram. Well, we have to talk about that word. When I looked in the Hebrew Strong's Concordance for this word ram, why don't we do it right now? I just want you guys to understand this the way that I do. We're still talking about the kings of the earth that fornicate with Babylon. So you have to think about this. If a physical vehicle shaped like a horn flew from the ground up into the stars, or up to the stars, up to space, it would be something from the earth, which is corruptible and physical and material, going into the heavenly realm, which is incorruptible. It would be very similar to the fallen angels coming down from heaven. They were going into a physical, material earth world that that's corruptible. So they were incorruptible, and they were going into this corruptible place in Genesis 6. And they were lusting after the daughters of men. And that was a whole mess. But it's very much the same when men take something that's corruptible and try to put it up in a place that's incorruptible, which would be heaven. And whether it's the prison for the fallen angels, or it's where God's throne is, it's still incorruptible, the heavenly realm. It is not the same as this world. So when the kings of the earth fornicate with Babylon, I see it as these horns, these vehicles that are going from the ground, which we'll read about this right here. This verse 5, if you see on the page there, whoops, wrong one. Verse 5 here, this tells us about these horns, and Daniel called it a he-goat with a notable horn between his eyes. It was coming on the west, or from the west, on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. It was flying, guys. So, where was I going here? Okay, so this vision, though, a ram. I guess we can do that. We'll look at Daniel 8 Bible Hub. This one word, a ram. I think everybody that has read this vision, their first thought when they go to think about what Daniel's seeing, they're immediately, I know you can't see the page very well right now. I'll get you there though. Okay, so let's see. I wonder if how can I do this? Wow. Ron, the guy I work for, he's ringing me off the hook. Okay, so, oops, I keep going to the wrong page. We need to go to Daniel 8 verse 3. And let's see if I can get to you to see this. Okay, so the word ram, right here, you can't quite see it, and I don't want to change all my settings, but it's 352 is strong, so we're going to click on that. The word ram, okay, it's A-Y-I-L, and the definition is a ram, okay? I know you can't see the whole screen, but you'll be able to see enough of it. But if we go down, well, first of all, what does this say right here? A projecting pillar or pilaster. Do you guys know what a pillar looks like? Let me see if I can. I'll just say it. A rocket, okay? I think Daniel was looking at a rocket and he called it a ram. Because a ram is not only an animal. Whoops, I'm on the wrong page again. Sorry, guys. Okay, look at Strong's Exhaustive Concordance. It says mighty man, lintel, oak, post, a post, a ram, tree. So it says strength, hence anything strong. Also a ram from his strength, a pilaster as a strong support, an oak or other strong tree, and then mighty man, lintel, oak, post, ram, tree. I think Daniel was using this word in the same way that it was used in describing the entrance to, oh yeah, that's right here, I guess. Pillar or projection in wall at each side of entrance in Solomon's temple. So it's like the structural part that held the part you walked under to get in, to go into Solomon's temple. So it's not just an animal. That's very important when we're reading this. Now let's go back here again. So he says, I saw in a vision. So he's looking at this and he says, I lifted up mine eyes. So that means he looked up and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high. But one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. Let me just show you guys something. Falcon Heavy rocket. Okay, It's a rocket that they've launched a few times in the last few years. I'm just going to show you an image of this rocket. Let's see. We'll just go to images, and that will probably work best. Okay, let me just... We'll even find a rocket with water, where we can see the water behind it. Let's see where. Or maybe we won't. I don't know. I thought there would be one right there. I guess there's one right here. If we look at... Whoops. That's not going to help you out to see it. I think you get the idea. Let me just... Okay. See right here? Or right here. That's in Florida at Cape Canaveral. On the ocean at Kennedy Space Center. So let me also do one more thing. Okay, so just keep this in mind. This is it's got 3 Falcon 9 boosters. You can see them, they're all strapped together. And then the center one is taller. And I also want to show you the logo, that the Falcon logo, the Falcon rocket logo. And I'll just, you can see it right here. See, this is like a falcon or whatever. But just watch, listen, or keep that in mind. And I'll actually, I want you to be able to see that while I'm reading. Let's see, we'll go like that so you can see a few different ones. Daniel said as he was looking up, let's go review it again, then we'll come back to this page. Sorry, guys. I'm not, I don't have it in memory very good. So it says he was lifting his eyes and he saw a ram, which could be like a post, like a tall structural post or something. He saw a river which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. Let me just explain something that's interesting. Okay, 2 horns, one was higher, and the higher came up last. That really looks like that logo almost. But if we go back to the rocket, that's how this rocket, like the stage separations, that's how it operates. So it launches, and all 3 of these are all attached together, and it launches. And when it gets a certain distance up, the 2 sides, the shorter ones, they get jettisoned off of it because they use the fuel in those first, and then they get rid of them. So then it's just the center part. And so the center part does go up last. The taller part goes up last. It's very interesting when, this is what I'm saying, how precise I believe that these prophets describe these things. To me, it's real. And as I was considering, oh wait, that's not where I wanted to go. Okay, so the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. That's actually how it launches too, which is interesting. So then he says, I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beasts might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will and became great. And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat, you guys know what a goat looks like, right? An he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth and touched not the ground. So he saw a flying goat that had a notable horn between his eyes, it says. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. So let's just do a little Google search again. If we do, let's see. I have so many videos that I've made about this, guys. Because since 2016, my eyes suddenly saw this. Actually, I can maybe go play, or I can maybe, oh, I know what I can do. I can just get a little image that I made, like a GIF file, and it'll give you maybe a little bit of the idea of what I think Daniel's watching. And when I think of this, for some reason I think of Deb Woods, because I think Deb Woods commented about this once, and I was like, when I see that someone's understanding what I'm trying to explain, that I am understanding in a certain way, it's very exciting for me when I see other people that can grasp this weird thing that I've been seeing, or that I know. That's what I can say, is that I know. These things are unmistakable. So let's look at this. This was something I made a while back. He had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram. We'll have to read that part. Let's see. I'll read it while this is still playing up there. Okay. So he saw that thing standing by the river. It says, I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward. Okay, and as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. So this ram is being pulled up to the stars by the well, we didn't get that far yet, but you'll see that he gets pulled up to the stars by this little he-goat, this little horn. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. That's exactly what happens during one of these launches. Actually, I want to find a video. I want to play a video. It's very short, and I think I know where I can find it. I made this video like 4 years ago, or let's see, 4 years ago. And I couldn't believe how all I had to do really to make this certain thing, which I'm finding right now, all I had to do was take a video that SpaceX had, or that they put out, and none of this was even a reality yet. This was something this was a concept that they had, and so it's just an animation. It's just like a cartoon. Where is this video? There it is. Okay, I have to get this off the screen. You guys just tell me what you think about this. I think it's amazing myself. We're going to watch this where is it? Right here, I think. Okay, so tell me what you think.
Mine eyes, and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. I saw the ram pushing westward, and northward, and southward, so that no beasts might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will, and became great. And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land. And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven. And it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away.
Okay, so let me, without losing my, like where I'm headed here, did you hear the last verse? That was Daniel 8, verse 11. Okay, first of all, let's look at Daniel 8, verse 10, because this shows us that this is certainly something flying from the ground up to the stars. Okay? And it waxed great. Whoops, I'll put my cursor there. And it waxed great. This is talking about the little horn that subdued the ram. Okay, and he was pulling the ram up and waxing great, right? And in verse 10 it says, and it waxed great, even to the host of heaven. And it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them. So do you guys see why I am always talking about SpaceX Dragon? Because that's what that vehicle is. It's a Crew Dragon. And they just started flying astronauts on it just last year. So that's what Daniel saw. He saw something waxing great all the way up to the stars, and it made the stars fall. But look what it says here in Daniel 8, verse 11. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host. Who's the prince of the host? That's the archangel Michael. So he magnified himself even to Michael. Well, that's what we read about in Revelation 12. There was war in heaven. The dragon was fighting with Michael and his angels. Look what else he said. And by him, to me, this is saying that Satan took away the daily sacrifice. By him, the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of the sanctuary was cast down. And this applies to the world we're in today. And it applies to why I'm always saying that God's in his throne in heaven, and he's never not been there. He's always been there. He's never left. But Satan has deceived us, and we've been born into a generation that doesn't believe that God's there. And I think that is part of the daily sacrifice being taken away, and his sanctuary being cast down. That's what I think. It says, and an host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression. Think of, there was 7 stars that also transgressed God's commanded, ordained courses. Planets. Sorry, I just got a message there. I sent a message while we were watching that video. Look what else it says. It cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. We've been born into a time when the whole world didn't believe the truth, didn't believe that God was in the sky, and many of you even here still argue with me when I say God's throne's in heaven above us in the sky, literally. You know, a lot of you say, no, I'm the temple of God. I'm the throne. No, you're not. Not according to the Bible. We are the temple of the Holy Spirit that proceeds from the Father in heaven, which is the sky. That's where God lives. That's his throne. The heaven is my throne and the earth is my footstool. Where's the house that you build unto me? Where's the place of my rest? And where does light come from? It all comes from there. I mean, unless we're talking about a light bulb or some kind of man-made form of light, or we could say duplicating light, trying to make a light with electricity or with fire or something like that. But all the light that God created is up in the sky, in the firmament, in a place of darkness, and that's what lights the earth up. And someone pointed out in the chat earlier a good point that God created light right off the bat. He said, "Let there be light," and there was light, and he saw that it was good. And what's interesting about that is the sun and moon and stars didn't even exist at that point. And then he made the firmament, which is clearly a place of darkness. Yes, Michael Kahn, you know it. Good point. Michael Kahn says they don't call him the Most High for nothing. He is the Most High. He sits above everything. So there is something about low and high that's a literal part of creation. And so this whole daily sacrifice being taken away, I think it has a lot to do with people believing a lie. And there's some other interesting things here in Daniel, but I think, and a lot of people will come and see this information I just showed you or that video we just watched, and they'll be like, "That's so stupid." Like, hey, you're not going to listen to what the prophet said. Which reminds me of something else. Let me do this. Let's go. We're going to look at one thing that just the other night I was listening to the Ascension of Isaiah, and there's a part in there that I always was like, where is that? Like, what chapter is that? And I could never remember where it was. And I was just listening to it the other night, and it's right at the end of chapter 3. So let's do this. Let's go there and read it. This is something that I see happening in the world, and it's why people would call this way of thinking stupid. And we'll just look at this quick, and then I'll probably end or be done with the stream here. Let's go to this early Christian writings. It's at the end of chapter 3. I was so happy that I found it because this is something I wanted to just say a lot. A lot of the time I want to point this out because I see it happening all the time with pretty much almost anybody I talk with these things about. Not anybody, but the majority of the people that actually understand what I'm trying to point out, they're like, nope. And it's because they're not willing to listen to what Daniel describes, When he sees a vision and he's describing these horns flying up to the heavens, and he's told that they're kings that shall arise out of the earth. So he's like verified, or he gets verified to him that to us that they're flying up to the sky. That shall arise out of the earth. Well, they're called kings. They're not men. They're horns. Same thing with John in Revelation. They were told that the same thing. So when people talk about the kings of the earth in that context in Revelation or Daniel in those visions, a lot of people are adding. I don't think they're doing it on purpose, but they're adding or taking away from the visions. Because I don't see anybody pointing out something that looks like a horn that flies up to the sky. But clearly, Daniel and John both saw horns that were flying up to the sky. They were going up to the stars, and they both saw them cast stars down to the ground and stamp upon them. And this is something that I think we've already witnessed this in our world, and I can give you an example in a minute. But let's just look at this. Okay. I see this so much. Okay. We'll start in verse 19, maybe. Yeah, we'll just start in verse 19. And that many who believe in him will speak through the Holy Spirit, and many signs and wonders will be wrought in those days. And afterwards, on the eve of his approach, his disciples will forsake the teaching of the 12 apostles and their faith and their love and their purity. And there will be much contention on the eve of his advent and his approach. Can you guys see this? And in those days many will love office, though devoid of wisdom. And there will be many lawless elders, and shepherds dealing wrongly by their own sheep, and they will ravage them, owing to their not having holy shepherds. And many will change the honor of the garments of the saints for the garments of the covetous. And there will be much respect of persons in those days, and lovers of the honor of this world. And there will be much slander and vainglory at the approach of the Lord, and the Holy Spirit will withdraw from many. And there will not be in those days many prophets, nor those who speak trustworthy words, save one here and there in divers places. On account of the spirit of error and fornication and of vainglory and of covetousness, which shall be in those who will be called servants of that one, and in those who will receive that one. And there will be great hatred in the shepherds and elders towards each other. For there will be great jealousy in the last days. For everyone will say what is pleasing in his own eyes. And they will, right here guys, this is what I see happening big time. And they will make of none effect of the prophecy of the prophets which were before me. This is why I apologize to the prophets for the way that we are in this world today, because it's like we're stomping on everything that they dedicated their lives to, and God called them to write down. And in this case, it's Isaiah. And look what he says here. And these my visions also will they make of none effect, in order to speak after the impulse of their own hearts. Let's not be like that, okay? That right there is what I see all the YouTube ministries and they love other things than what the prophets say. They don't care about what the prophets wrote. And I just tried to give you an example of that with Daniel 8. So what was it that I was just that we were going to look at? I can't remember now. Let me think. We were in Daniel 8, and then we went to the ascension of Isaiah. I can't remember what it was. There was something else I was going to... Well, you know what? Let's do this. I do have a video. I'll see if I can find it here. Where I kind of had that same little GIF file. I made a video that hopefully would maybe give a little bit of insight. I think it's this one right here. It's only 2 minutes long. I don't think it's too deep or something, but let's just check this out and just see if it kind of starts to make some sense a little bit.
I think you asked how did I get up to the ISS and how long do I spend, and I came up here just like all the crew members since the space shuttle retired in 2011.
The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked.
Since the space shuttle retired in 2011.
And it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it.
We all fly on the Russian Soyuz rocket and Soyuz spacecraft.
And behold another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side.
We all fly on the Russian Soyuz rocket and Soyuz spacecraft.
Like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh.
Since the end of the shuttle program, the only ride to the station has been on the Russian Soyuz. But by working with SpaceX and Boeing, there's soon going to be a new fleet of spacecraft capable of bringing humans to low Earth orbit. And of course, all of this supports the mission of the International Space Station, humanity's premier laboratory in space, where we're pushing the boundaries in science and technology every single day.
After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth, devoured, and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes, like the eyes of man, and a mouth, speaking great things.
Yes, Captain Caveman just said it. Low Earth orbit. Low Earth orbit, guys. Daniel saw 4 beasts that were kings that shall arise out of the earth. And what we just went over in Daniel 8 was he saw a he-goat with a notable horn between his eyes, and he saw it pulling this ram all the way up to the stars, and it was breaking in pieces. The horn, what did it say? I got it right here. I'll read, or I'll find it. It said, it literally describes a rocket launch with stage separations, where the rocket literally snaps in half, and part of it keeps going, and the other part falls or goes back to the ground. Let's see here. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. Let's go look at this once. I think it's right after this.
And stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. I considered the horn.
I guess it wasn't right there. Let me see if I got a video of this. Well, I know I do, but there's something called Super Dracos, which are engines that are placed on the 4 corners of this vehicle. This is just a little video of it. There's actually 8 of them, but they look like 4 unless you're really close. Now, does that look like eyes with a notable horn between his eyes? Remember, Daniel was describing something he had no idea what he was looking at. And it scared him. It made him sick. He got ill because of what he saw. And for us to see it, that's just everyday stuff. So I think that should also say something about... let's watch this video. So this is a dragon capsule. A crew dragon. Or red dragon. Or I can't play that video. I don't know if that music is copyrighted, so I'm not going to play it. But what I'm going to do is make it silent and play it and explain it. Okay, see the cartoon on the left? Do you guys expect to see that in the sky? Or do you think Satan is going to come in a real way? And I'll go back there a little bit. See on the right? That's a red dragon also. So I'm just pointing out that in our world today, there's a red dragon flying in the firmament of heaven. And here's another point. A lot of people say, no, that's not what Daniel was seeing, because that's not even real. Well, let me put that into perspective. Does the world believe that there's a SpaceX dragon flying in the sky, going up and down, to and fro, whatever you want to call it? Yes, the world believes this. The world believes that he's cast out into the earth. And that's why I'm saying something that might seem to be out there, but I don't really care if it's out there. The prophets told us or showed us these things for a reason. I'm just trying to find a clip of something for you. Here, let's just watch this for a second. You know, in Revelation 12, there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels were fighting with Satan and the dragon and his angels. And the dragon was Satan, the devil, and he was cast out into the earth. Where did that video go? I thought I just had it. Here we go. He was cast out into the earth. So I don't have to translate or interpret, I don't have to interpret these things, because a lot of people say, I don't agree with your interpretation. Great. Don't agree with my interpretation. This is not an interpretation. This is an observation.
In case if you're just joining us, you can see on your screen there, Dragon has just re-entered the Earth's atmosphere after departing from the International Space Station.
So is that something I have to interpret, or is that on TV, on NASA TV, that the whole world believes that is real? Like, there might be flat earthers that don't believe it, but that's them just being deceived because it's very real. But the world believes in it as if it's going to be doing something for them. Like, they're going to be... Why are they making these dragon capsules? Well, Captain Caveman said it. Low Earth orbit. They want to live in heaven. How many rockets crashed? Not very many. SpaceX with their Falcon 9 has only had 2 mishaps. One was on the launch pad, and one was just maybe 30, 40 seconds after launch. And those were quite a while back. Now their Starship stuff, they're doing that experimental stuff, they expect crashes there, so I don't think that's what you'd be talking about. But a Dragon capsule has never crashed. One blew up one, because the one that blew up on the pad was actually a satellite that they were launching for some company. But there was one Falcon 9 rocket that failed, and it blew up a Dragon capsule. Just once. So, I like what you're saying, Captain Caveman. They hide nothing. They're not hiding anything. Nobody's hiding anything. So that's what, if I made a video yesterday kind of talking a little bit about people lying or the devil lying. And I think it's important that we believe what the Bible says. And we understand that Satan deceives the world. And NASA's a bunch of weirdos. Here, check this out.
Get thee hence, Satan. For it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve.
My name is Emily, and my question is, how does it feel to know that you are floating in a piece of metal in an endless void?
Get thee hence, Satan.
Get thee hence, Satan. So yeah, the things happening in darkness up there are very bad things. Deb Woods says, we see the Starlink satellites and we see the ISS fly by all the time. Yes. And I can't comprehend how every day in my comment section in my videos, every day someone kind of rebukes me or whatever, however you want to word that, for saying that the ISS is up there and that Starlink satellites are up there. And I'm like, where's your head? You're afraid to look up at the sky? Because if anybody looks up at the sky, they're going to see things flying in the sky all over the place. And the ISS is on a schedule. Michael Kahn says, a Starlink shone a beam on me. That's called a flare. That's called a flare. And what that is, you know how the sun is in the sky, even when it's dark out? It's still in the sky. It never goes down. It actually goes away from you, and it appears to go down. And it gets dark because we were talking about light in this stream. The light doesn't travel. It can't travel so far, and it can't travel if it's blocked. And as the sun goes away, it's also appearing to go down. Anything going away from you in the sky will be appearing to go down toward the horizon. And it will continue to do this until you can't see it anymore. And it'll continue on further than that till the tree or a mountain that's however far away from you is going to block that sun. But it's going to, if there's a Starlink satellite that's 200 miles in the air, it'll be a lot longer before that gets blocked out. So what it is the sun is actually shining and hitting that satellite, and it reflects down to the ground even when it's dark out. I can actually show you an example of this with a rocket launch, which is actually kind of interesting. I'm going to do this. I'm going to pull up I don't like that my screen just says Satan on it right now either. I want to show you something. There's a Bakersfield. Where is that? Is that? I don't know if I have it right here. There's a launch that took place that there was a newscast that did. I thought I had that in this folder. Let me see. But you can see when the light hits the plume, and that gives you an idea of how far away the sun is actually. I guess I don't know where it is, but either way, I guess that's not really a big deal. But so yeah, when you see that light and it kind of flashes at you, that's like if you took a mirror, but not a mirror, like something shiny, and you reflected the sunlight onto it. I'll tell you guys a funny story. One time, there was this place called Old Country Buffet. It was like a family buffet place. And one time when I was a kid, I had two brothers, one older and one dumber. I mean, one younger. I'm just kidding. Me and my brothers, okay, my parents had a van, and we had gone out to eat to this Old Country Buffet like on a Sunday or something with my grandparents. And of course they wanted to, sit in the restaurant and eat and talk and have coffee and whatever. It was a buffet, so, got to go back and get more food. Well, us kids were just bored. We're like, can we go play in the van? Sure. So we went out and played in the van. And I'll never forget this, but those vanity mirrors or whatever that you could clip onto your visor in the front seats? Well, we had one of those. And we took that mirror, and we found out that it was just perfect for us to be able to take the sunlight, and we were out in the parking lot, and we were able to reflect it into the restaurant, and it lit up the whole wall in the restaurant. And it was hilarious. I'll never forget it. So we were flashing the whole restaurant, and I'm sure they were like, what is going on out there? Because it was lighting up the whole wall in the restaurant. So, and we could see that from out there, so we were doing it. We were little troublemakers. Michael Kahn says it made me feel like it was watching me. Well, it can't watch you. It's just a corruptible piece of metal and plastic and whatever that men have put into a place that is not for men to go. Do you think that is what people see in these alien UFO sightings? You know what I think? I'm just going to be honest. Most of these alien UFO sightings are just jets and planes, and probably drones now too. Because let's go to the desktop. I want to show you guys something. If I can remember what it's called, I haven't been there for a while. Let's see. Cancel desktop. Sorry about the Satan thing sitting there for a while. Whoops. How do I get down? Okay, there we go. Let's look for, what is it called? I can't remember what the site is called. Satellite. We'll find it here. It's like NYO or something. Maybe I have to put that in there. N2YO. Okay, I haven't been there for a while, apparently. So, do you guys want to see where the last batch of Starlink satellites is right now? Any single one of them. They launched 60 less than a week ago. So if we go to... Now, this site has so many ads and things playing that it takes a while to for things to work. Okay, just launched Soyuz. That was the one I live streamed the other morning. So I believe all these OneWeb ones are probably the Starlink ones. Let's just see. It might be something else, but you can track any one of these. Okay, here's Starlink. Okay, so first of all, let's track just this first Starlink satellite, but then we're also going to track the batch, the whole, because when they launch 60 of them, they're all on this very similar trajectory, and they slowly spread out. But so here's the map. So that satellite we picked is right there, right now. It's over Africa. So, and this is what I'm saying. People that are, and I find this with flat earthers. They feel, this is my assumption or my interpretation of why they're scared to look up at the sky and why they're in denial of these things. It's because they feel if they look up and they see something up in the sky, then Earth can't be flat or something. It's not related to when I look at it. It has nothing to do with the flat Earth. The flat Earth's the place we live on, the ground beneath our feet. That's flat. Water lays flat there. The place in the sky, the people that think we're on a globe think that there's things orbiting around a globe. But all they're doing is they're orbiting around in the sky. They're never going around you. They're going above you all the time. They're always above. Just like the sun and moon. They do the same type of thing that the sun, moon, and stars do. They move across the sky at night. And no, they don't need anything to hold them up because they're in the heavenly realm. There is no physics there. And that's something I'm probably going to make a video on soon, proving. And it won't be accepted by a lot of the people that fight the flat earth, specifically. Because I've talked to some people about this, and yes, everything in the sky, whether men put it there or not, all of it is not under the laws of physics. There is no physics. Look at the astronauts in the space station. They float. There's nothing in space that has any similarity to anything on Earth. And I'll be sometime soon making a video proving that with actual observations and facts of things. Like when we're on the ground, it doesn't move. And then when we look up to the sky, it's moving. And when we put something in the sky, we have to take it from 0 miles an hour when we build it, like the Starlink satellites, 0 miles an hour, and we have to accelerate it. So that acceleration is part of the math that we would experience on the Earth. But once we leave the Earth, there's no more math involved because no more fuel or acceleration is ever needed again. Once it's up there, once it's in that other world, there's nothing acting on it. There's no forces acting on it at all. There's no gravity. They pretend that they think there's gravity. They say there's 90% gravity or something, but they're still floating. They just make this excuse, and this is what this whole deception is about. They think that they're falling, which in the bottomless pit, you perpetually free fall, right? Like you'd fall and you'd never get to the bottom. That's what space is. They think they're orbiting around a globe, falling around a curved Earth. So they just never hit. They just never hit the ground. It just keeps going perpetually, forever. So it's just the bottomless pit, and it's in the Bible. It's called the darkness upon the face of the deep. And men call it space. So look at this 10-day predictions for Starlink 2295. This is one of the Starlink satellites. So when you do this, if you have your GPS or whatever your location on, it will tell you every single time that one of these is going to pass over your house and be visible. So like the ones that are yellow, the darker yellow they are on this site anyway, the better the better you'll be able to see it, like Michael Kahn was saying, that he could see it flashing at him. Well, that was probably going to be one that would be more like this. So here's where I live. Whoops. I live in Minnesota, just north of Minneapolis, St. Paul. And so this is the trajectory of that satellite. And the pass will begin. Let's see. It tells you everything, so you can't miss it. The 14th of April at 21:16 and 30 seconds. Southwest 236.84. It's very precise, guys. Like I said, when some things get put up there, nothing's acting on it. So it will continue on a predictable trajectory continuously. So then this is just a Starlink satellite, okay? Excellent visible pass. So the max altitude it gives you, the pass ending. So this one is 10 minutes. 10 minutes I can see this single satellite in the sky. And you have to remember that there's 59 behind it. So let's do this just for fun, because I want you guys to understand this too. So look at this. The ISS will cross my sky in 49 minutes and 48 seconds. I won't be able to see it because it's still daylight here. But let's do this. Let's go back to a different Starlink satellite. Let's look at the last of those 60. Oops. This is going to take a second. Okay, let's go to just launched again. And let's look at, okay, so that was 2295 we were just looking at. That's going to fly over my house April, whatever that day was. Well, let's just go, this is probably, what, the 10th one? Let's track this 10th one. So these are all launched on the same batch. Well, we'll find that it's going to be just a couple minutes later, or however far they've spread out. It's just going to come a little bit after. So see where that one's right there? It's almost in the same spot, and of course this is moving the whole time. But let's do a 10-day prediction, and let's look at that same, or let's look at the best visible pass here. April 14th. Is that what we were at? I think we were. So this will be 21:17 and 30. I think it was 21:16 and 30 on the last one. So it's going to go right along this trajectory. And when it's green, that's when it's going to be visible. So I can see it all the way up in Ontario, all the way down to Arizona from my house. And this is why we can triangulate approximately. We can triangulate and see how high they are in the sky. And we can verify that they are 340 miles in the sky. Now, if you're a flat earther, how does that hurt your belief? It actually does the opposite of hurting your belief. It verifies very much of what the Bible says. Planes and Seas laughs at 17,000 miles an hour. Planes and Seas obviously has not ever looked. You've never looked up there. They certainly are moving that fast. And actually Starlink is, I think, moving faster. So I would encourage, I think it's unfortunate when a person takes that stance. Now, I'm not against you or anything, and I totally get why it's funny. I used to say the same thing myself until I actually started paying attention to what's happening in the sky. And that goes along with understanding what the whole aerospace industry is doing with the $400 billion that they're spending every year, last year on it. So And this, okay, so this was that Starlink one. Now let's do this. Let's just hit the ISS button. And you can get an app on your phone that does all this too. So we can get a 10-day prediction of every time that the ISS will be visible above my house. So I'm not saying that this is like interesting and fun to do, but I encourage like planes and seas there, people that are thinking that it's all fake or something. The only reason why you can allow yourself to think it's fake and laugh at it is because you have not investigated it. There's something keeping you back from actually looking up there and trying to figure out what you're seeing up there. So I'm not trying to insult anyone either. I'm trying to share something. So let's see. All passes. Let's do this. Okay, so when it's white like this, that means you're not going to see anything. See that? Not visible. So what that means is that if you look at the, it says it's going to cross my sky, but it won't be visible. If you look at the your app, or if I looked at my app on my phone right now, it would tell me that for the next 10 days, there would not be any visible passes. And that happens about every month. There will be like 20 days where it's visible every day, even 2 times a day for many of those days. But then there'll be a period of time where there's, let's go to live tracking and I'll show you why. And this is above a flat earth. It has nothing to do with a globe. That's just an assumption that people that want to believe in a globe make. No, it can't have, it proves the globe. No, it doesn't. Okay, see, every pass is coming. So first of all, and that's something else I might do a video about, is you guys know Don Pettit, right? Well, he did when he was on the space station quite a few years back, he did a demonstration with a globe, and he was quite confused himself. You could see it in his face, and he kept having to repeat how they're on a straight trajectory. They're flying in a straight line. They're not turning at all. He kept saying that while he's demonstrating with a globe how this pattern is made. And it has to turn, you guys. But like I said, there's no physics in that place. So you can turn. There's no, what would it be called? Like inertia or something, or I don't know what it would be, what force it would be on the earth. Like if you take a right turn in your car, your body goes to the left. You know what I mean? That doesn't happen up there. There is no turning or straight line. There's no forces acting on it. Zero. There's no physics there. That's something that we can prove if we pay attention to all the details. So let me zoom out. How do I zoom out? Okay, there we go. Okay, so do you see this pattern? So that's where the space station is right now. So it's coming, and it's going to come up there in Australia, right? Well, the last pass, it came up like right here in Australia. So as it goes, so the next pass, it'll be like right here. And the next pass after that will be like right here. And like that. So, and I think I'm in the same shoes as Don Pettit. He don't understand it. He don't understand how it's possible. And I'm in the same boat. I don't understand and it's because this map is wrong. This map is not right. And I'm not saying flat map. I'm saying any map is not right. Something's happening that human beings do not understand. So, Michael Kahn says his next visible is 27th of April. Wow. That is 17 days away. But yeah, so I just wanted to share this because any satellite that's ever been launched that's still operational, you can narrow your search down to any single thing that's been launched, and you can track it. And if it's something that's visible, like if the sun is in the right spot and it's dark enough where you are, where you'll be able to see it, you will see it exactly in the sky where these kinds of programs show you. And it tells you which direction to look, what time it will pop into view, because a lot of times the space station's flying right over you and it disappears right when it's above you because it goes into the light's being blocked by something far away. The sunlight is. So it just disappears because if it's not lit up, like if it's not reflecting light, you're not going to see it. So then I would, one other teeny thing is I'm going to grab, I think I already have the video in here. I just want to show you guys if I can find the right video. Well, let's watch this while I'm looking for the video really quick. You guys see that? That's a barrier. That's what fornication is in the book of Revelation. When John saw the kings of the earth fornicating with Babylon and burning her with fire, and they saw a beast that came up out of the bottomless pit. That's what that's about. So here's, we might have to try a few different videos to find the right one. How long shall be the vision? Okay, it could be this one. I'm just going to skim through. Okay, I don't think it's this one. I have footage of the night sky that's time-lapsed. Actually, you know what? Do you guys remember who Gene Kim is? Let's watch this video. This is a good one. Dr. Gene Kim is a pastor of Real Bible Believers Church in, I don't know if that's the name of the church. I think it is. That's his YouTube channel anyway. Real Bible Believers in San Jose, California. And if I lived in San Jose, California, I'd be going to that church. Because this doctor, pastor, whatever, has his ears open to very many of the same things that I am hearing and seeing. Let's check this out.
Now, who's the one that inhabits the stars and up there in the universe, that's space? It's the devil. And one character that really piqued my interest during the year 2021 is Elon Musk.
I believe that it's important for the future to be a spacefaring civilization out there, and ultimately be out there among the stars.
I could tell that there's something about this guy that would play a very pivotal role for the year 2021. All right, why would he be an interesting character to pay attention to, Pastor? Because he can change our world. He can literally change our world.
Life can become multiplanetary. This is the goal we should strive for.
Where technology and civilization will not be the same. And 2021 could be the year where it's starting, the whole change of our civilization. Instead of the internet going through landlines, electricity, or on the Earth, Elon Musk already had like tons of satellites up in the air already. For some of you who didn't know, he already got the permission from the government, and lots of them already up in the air. And if all of them are up in the air around the world, if you hook up your internet to that, then guess what? It'll be much, much more fast. Satellites. Now, who's the one that inhabits the stars and up there in the universe, that's space? It's the devil. It's Satan. And he will have a play during the timeline of the tribulation. He's going to have war. There's going to be Star Wars up there. Revelation chapter 12. We're going to see verse 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. And the dragon fought and his angels. and prevail not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth. And his angels were cast out with him. Notice that at verse 3, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven. So Satan and his fallen beings inhabit up there in outer space. But remember, the Bible says he's the prince of the power of the air. Now, these satellites, I mean, if they're all the way up there at outer space, could the devil have a play in that one? Well, they mention about one time where they launched a thing called Dragon.
And liftoff.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth.
Liftoff of the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket.
And he had 2 horns like a lamb. And he spake as a dragon.
Launching Dragon.
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 The dragon.
Dragon.
The dragon.
Dragon.
The dragon.
To the International Space Station.
And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority.
Dragon blasted to space.
The dragon.
Dragon is expected to stay attached to the space station until October 28th.
And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast.
Dragon is currently the only craft capable of returning a significant amount of supplies from the station.
Which is very interesting. That name, Dragon. And Satan is right up there at the stars, and then now people are launching a thing called Dragon, and Elon Musk is launching all these satellites up there. Could there be a connection maybe? Well, with this next prediction, it's probably true. The next thing, the third thing, is that he's actually, believe it or not, he's trying to hit for the moon now. They're gonna try to land on the moon again, or so they say, right? So depending upon, whether you believe that we really landed on the moon or not, but the point is that is the next prediction, is that they're going to hit the moon. And then once they hit the moon, remember the scientists, Stephen Hawking and all these guys, they were mentioning, look, our planet is dying, and they all know that too. So then they said the only way that mankind can survive as a species is that we colonize up there at a different part of the universe. So then Elon Musk is, I don't know if you knew this, but he has these rockets under the government's permission already. So then he's getting ready, from what I've read from some sources, is that he's getting ready to launch one perhaps around October of 2021. So then they're going to try to reach to the moon, and once they do that, then he can have his dream and vision fulfilled.
Thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord.
Be out there among the stars.
Among the stars.
Be out there among the stars.
And though thou set thy nest among the stars.
This is hopefully the first step on a journey towards a civilization on Mars, life becoming multiplanetary, based on the moon, and expanding beyond Earth. And
among the stars.
Be out there among the stars. Life becoming multiplanetary.
Musk is a very visionary man. That's why he was able to make big waves with technology. This is a mentality that is Satan's, actually. When mankind tries to reach up to the heavens, this is something that is of the devil. Now you might say, what's wrong with that? Shouldn't we go up there and be safe and colonize outer space? Well, you got to realize this: mankind in his own efforts, that is wicked to the Lord. That is wicked to the Lord, because that's something that Satan wanted, and God doesn't give mankind that. Go to Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. So notice that Satan, he intends to go up above the stars, up there. But what happens at verse 12, the Bible says he's fallen down, cut down to the ground. Revelation 12, that prophecy is fulfilled. He goes down to the ground. Look at how God thinks about mankind trying to go up to heaven. Go to Genesis 10. Genesis 11, excuse me. Genesis chapter 11. Genesis chapter 11. Look, God is not for this. Mankind trying to go up to heaven. God is not for that. You might think there's nothing wrong with that, but here's the key. The reason why God views it as wrong is because, see, mankind is relying on his own ability to do the feats of God. So because of that, God doesn't allow them to go up there. Plus, there's something up there. There's something up there. A lot of people who dig into conspiracies and stuff like that, they have some of these theories and they're saying that the government's trying to restrict people from going up there and etc. But I do know this, is that there is something up there that God does not want people to have access to. But there is something that Satan wants mankind to try to get access to up there. Look at Genesis chapter 11 and verse 4. And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make a name, see that? Lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. That's why God scattered them. Why? When mankind unites, they become a civilization, they increase their technology, and the unity becomes stronger, and then they try to play God. That's why technology, the Lord, we were able to use it to glorify the Lord, to reach many souls out there. But you got to realize that the origins of technology, it's actually bad. It's actually bad because that's something where it unites mankind even more together. And then mankind and humanism and civilization increases into what? What God always prevented throughout history. A Genesis 6 civilization. They built those pyramids. Why? Because there's that seeking up to go up to heaven. Look at Genesis chapter 11. What did God do? He says, verse 7, go to, let us go down and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. All right, going back to Revelation chapter 12, then the question is this, can mankind attain it? So this is what I believe. At chapter 12, verse 9, Satan and his fallen angels cannot have access to outer space. That's important. But what if Elon Musk accomplishes it? And then, God forbid, as time passes by, there are human beings and people who reside over there and then start to make a colony. Well, that brings up something very interesting then. If that's the case, then the interesting thing is, if the people are colonizing in outer space
towards a civilization on Mars, life becoming multiplanetary, based on the moon and expanding beyond Earth and
among the stars,
out there among the stars, life becoming multiplanetary.
And remember, during Revelation chapter 12, tribulation is already underway, right? Tribulation is already underway. So you got some time where people are residing there, tribulation's already underway, and not only that, Satan and his fallen angels are residing in space that time. Then Genesis 6 could be much faster than you think. They could be what? Mingling with the seed of man up in space. And then they can have their warfare against what? Michael and his archangels. We built a civilization. We built power. Now let's try to fight God up in heaven. But then what does God do? He casts them down. So Elon Musk's dream with all of his billions comes to nothing. To nothing. To nothing. To nothing.
All right. Hope you guys liked that video. I think that Gene Kim is very insightful and obviously has some similar knowledge in the scripture that I have myself. I'm gonna play this, but turn it down a little bit. So, I think that's about it. I could comment on comments. I get so many comments that are just hard to read through on my channel. And I'm not going to do that right now. So what I'm going to do, though, is thank you all for coming and hope you all have a good day. Jamie Morton, that's a good question. Why does God put up with Satan? It's a good question. But it's already been written what his fate is. And yeah, so I don't know the answer. Thank you, Parkway, for the links. I enjoy that. And thank you guys all for hanging out. And I will talk to you the next time I go live. And yeah, I'm worried about my channel again, but whatever. I can't really do anything about it unless I was gonna take all my videos and take them down or something. I'm not gonna do that. If something they find from 5 years ago that is on my channel that breaks their guidelines, so be it. But yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen. We will see. All right, thanks guys. Have a great day.